What's up, people? Doing a low fade with a comb over on someone with thinner hair. Knocking down the bulk with my Andis T outliner. As you know, I barely ever do it with the Andis T outliner because I feel like it takes too much time and I feel like it's a little too hard on the blade, but I didn't have my equipment and I was working with the student's equipment today. So just going through, knocking out the bulk, putting the line, make sure it's straight all the way around, make sure it's the same on both sides, and I'm going to go through with the electric shaver, going up against the grain, and I'm going down to blend it. As you see me going down right there, I'm moving down to blend it, and I want to make sure that I don't have any harsh lines from where it is completely skinned to where I put in that 5-0 line or that trimmer line. And I need to make sure that I'm very careful in that process. Now I'm going to go up against the grain with the number 2. I just want to get some of this bulk out of my way so I could see what I'm doing, and I'm setting myself up to do some clipper over comb. So just going up just above the parietal ridge, I'm going to begin the clipper comb by rolling the comb out towards me and cutting that hair that sticks out of it. With that number 2 being the size that it is, it actually makes it nice to lay the back of the comb in there. As long as those teeth don't dip inward and you continue rolling it out towards yourself, you're not going to create any additional work for yourself. A word to the wise: when doing clipper over comb, we do not want to try to rush this, and you do not want to try to get too much done at one time. Just take little steps, step back, look at it. A couple little cuts, step back, look at it. This is for removing a lot of bulk. This is not for finally detailing the work. We'll go back in and we'll detail it with some scissor over comb, which can help soften the edges and soften the look. We just want to knock out the blend. We want to get rid of most of the bulk, and we want to make it look smoother than it does right now. And as you can see me rolling that comb away from myself, lifting it when I begin cutting, and I'm just viewing the changes that are happening, and I'm letting my eyes kind of guide me to where I go. Okay, I got the camera positioned so that you can see that there's sort of a shelf here, and I thought that was going to be a little better view than it is. You can barely see, but my hand's kind of getting in the way. I'm just trying to show you guys that side view so you could actually see what I'm doing, but it didn't work out as great as I wanted it to. However, I want you to look at the front of his hairline and notice that he's kind of thinning in the very front. That's actually where I'm going to use the kiss, and I'm going to use the kiss with the airbrush because I think it comes out a little smoother. It looks a little more natural, and it will make his hair look a little thicker in that spot. So not really using it for the fade or anything like that, just thickening up them light spots. So as I always begin all my fades, I'm beginning with the open taper, clipper in the open position, and you're going to see me begin to tap that blade down little by little as I want to knock out that line that's underneath it. So the idea here is when I set this guideline, I know not to go any higher than it, and I'm going to work in between where those two lines are. So I just move the clipper down just a tiny bit right there, and I'm going to stay just underneath where I went with that line, and I'm going to begin cutting and keeping it on an angle. I don't want to hold it flat too much. As soon as I begin closing this down, I don't want to hold it flat. I want to try to keep it on an angle, or only hold one corner of the blade to the scalp at one time, so that I'm feeding all the hair into that clipper and it's being cut, and the fade is starting to come out smooth. So little by little, and I'm not even halfway down, the Oster fast feed with the ceramic blade really gets the job done. It's probably one of the best setups you could ever use for getting the skin line out, and you don't even need a fade blade or anything. The blade that comes on it is fine. You just need to get the ceramic blade. I'll put the link in the description for that. You could check it out, and if you haven't seen the Oster fast feeds or you're thinking about buying a pair, check out the link. I'll put that in the description as well. So anyways, I'm moving through, and as you can see, that line is gone and it's getting better and better. And this is why I want to caution you to be thorough. Don't jump ahead too fast. This is a great time to go back on one step and grab your T outliner, and just right where you met with that skin and the T outliner, want to wipe that last little bit out so you know it's perfectly smooth. Make sure that every step that you're trying to accomplish is completely done before you move on to the next step. And I'm going to run this real quick in the back, and I'm going to show you that right in the back. I actually just got the Airbrush today, and I did a little unboxing on it, which I'm going to put the video up on the unboxing, and I'll show you guys all about it. The Airbrush itself is very quiet. It was very easy to use. I've never actually used one before, and I found it pretty easy to get set up. I used Kiss. I mixed it with a little bit of alcohol, and it seemed to work just fine. I didn't really have any issues. So I'll put the link in the description to the airbrush that I have, and you can check out that setup. It came with the gun, it came with everything I needed. So far I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty quiet, and the cord is actually long enough where I can keep it under my station, so that was kind of a concern of mine. But anyways, I'm moving through here, and I'm going to begin with the 0 in the open position, and I'm going to do the exact same step that I just did before. When I had the open taper line, I created a line above that, and then as I began closing the clipper blade, I begin working lower, and you'll start to see that that line is going to start getting wiped out. Now as I go through, I'm going to close it all the way, and there's going to get to a point where I closed it all the way and there might still be a little bit of a shadow there, which is where I caution you, don't grab your number 1 and start going into that. Go back a step. See that I just went back a step with the open taper, and I can wipe out that line right where them two meet. I can get that, and I can get it to look perfect before I move on to my number 1 step. So sometimes, you know, you want to get ahead of yourself. It's very easy to jump to your number 1 when you're not even really there yet. So here I am with my number 1. And remember, I began this all with my number 2. So very minimal cleanup. If I want to go back to my number 2, I can. But I know right now that I'm getting pretty close to the end of the fade. I got my 1 open, and I'm beginning to close it little by little until I wipe out that line and I wipe out any shadows. And of course, I'll do the same thing on the other side of the head. And before we move on, I'll jump back to my 0, and I'll take out that last little bit of a shadow underneath it. See, it's always a case of just taking 1 step backwards before you take a step forward. So I'm going to begin by cutting my guideline in the center of the head with the scissors, and we're going to create that guideline right down the middle. And standing off to the side, you can see I got my guide there, I'm just going to move back to the sides, and you'll notice that I actually have 2 guides. I'm moving backwards with 1 guide and the other. So I have 2 guides. I have a traveling guideline and I have a stationary guideline, and I'm just going to cut all that hair off of that center length, and I'm going to stay moving back, moving back, moving back. This is a very easy guideline to follow, very simple way to do this. If you're struggling with your scissors, I got a scissor video. Go ahead and check it out, and you can see I really get in depth with this stuff and show people how to do it. It's not hard. You know, a lot of people avoid using the scissors at all costs. There's no reason to unless you don't feel comfortable. So go and check that video out. I feel like I made a very good, thorough video that really explains this stuff, that if you're struggling with it, please check it out. Go help yourself out. So anyways, I'm continuing that guideline off the side of the head, and I'm just about done with the top. Notice how the front of his hair, you can kind of see where he's getting a little bit thin up there. But before I deal with that, I'm actually going to comb all this hair down, and I'm going to do a little bit of scissor over comb. And once I do that scissor over comb, I'll feel free to go ahead and cut those bangs and get the rest of that all set. I got plenty of videos on scissor over comb, so I'm not going to go too in depth here. I got videos that are specifically dedicated to this, and they've done pretty well. So if it's something that you really need to learn, go ahead and check it out. I know that I don't have your guys' attention for all that long. I'm not trying to make these 40-50 minute videos, even though I want to. I feel like I'm shortchanging you when I don't, but you know. Anyways, I'm just using the airbrush. As you can see, it's pretty simple to use. Just spraying it. If you move further away, just, you know, it spreads the spray out just a little bit. Found it pretty simple to apply, and then I just went back through with my straight razor. I have Kiss, and I have alcohol in that thing, and it worked just fine. It was able to spray, and it gave me the color results that I wanted. I sprayed it on the top of his hair, just in some of those spots where he was thinning a little bit, and it really did help him out. He really liked it because it looks super natural, and you really can't even tell it's done. And then after it dried, it looked really nice. So I did that in the front, and as you can see, it kind of made him come out pretty natural. He was looking pretty good.
Okay guys, hope you liked the video. For more videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll get back to you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.